Hello, this is Connie Brown, Manager of Training Services for Ex Libris in North America. This presentation is going to focus on operational reports that are available via the Alma menu. Operational reports are the sorts of things that relate very much to operator roles and what kinds of things are available depending on what operator roles are assigned to individuals. So we can see just by the fact that I've opened the menu here that there are a number of different things that we would be able to do for acquisitions, resource management, fulfillment, user management, and so on. Because I have the maximum number of roles available to me, I'm able to see the various kinds of things that are available to me. Now, just to take a look at things in connection very specifically with acquisitions, I want to make sure that I am actually located at an acquisitions desk, and so I'm going to ensure that that gets put into play. And we can see that the menu has changed somewhat on the basis of the sorts of things that I am able to see. An acquisitions administrator or manager probably would want to be seeing reports for things like deferred PO lines. So, you know, we could be seeing what those things are, and on the basis of what is actually here, then making decisions about when we're going to proceed with continuing to order them. So here we have an example of Administrative Science Quarterly that's assigned to me as an operator, and then of course to be making a decision about that. And here we're able to see that the reminder date has arrived, and that we're able to be acting on that. On the unassigned tab, here we're not seeing anything at this point. We could also be seeing things that are assigned to others, and so this is assigned to another operator who has the same kind of responsibility. Other kinds of things in the acquisitions area might relate to reviewing purchase order lines, and so here, or purchase orders. And so if we go to the review area here, being able to see what purchase orders are in review, what needs to have attention paid to them, and you can see that there are a number of things here that are rather old. However, since it's in a training environment, this is not an unusual thing. So other details, of course, we're getting the PO numbers, the fact that these are all have the status of in review, the date, what vendor this applies to, what organizational unit it applies to, the total price, the number of lines that are associated with it, and so on, and the fact that there are 74 such records that are in need of attention. So again, be able to work with this, make some additional decisions about things. And then over on the left-hand side, seeing the faceting options and being able to see, for example, that we have one PO where the mandatory information is missing or erroneous, a line isn't ready. We've got 61 where the order sending fails, and so that is a different kind of problem that needs to be solved. Filtering by vendor, and also, again, faceting by the different libraries where acquisitions desks are situated. Other types of things, being able to see items where we're, for example, waiting for payment. None that are assigned to me at this point. We have some that are unassigned, and so the waiting for payment, this relates to the ERP, and so the fact that we would be sending information off to an internal agency for the purposes of paying the bill and then getting the information back that indeed the payment has been taken care of. So there are a bunch that are unassigned. Again, some that are assigned to others, and so here being able to see who those operators are in this far right-hand column. So lots of things that we can be doing on a day-to-day basis just in terms of looking at what information we need to be using in order to ensure that work is in fact being completed. If we move along then to take a look at the kinds of things that are available in resource management. So this is a place where this is much more related to perhaps cataloging managers, where we want to be perhaps monitoring processes that relate to various activities, seeing what sorts of steps are going on, and so on. And if we take a look at things like the monitor and view imports here, we have the opportunity, and we're not seeing any that relate to today. However, just to be taking note of this, the fact that we've got opportunities to be looking at repository types of things, initial authority records, and so on. We've also got a status filter where we're able to see things that might, for example, be in process. So with that, let's just try to see what we can get if we filter for a particular type. So we'll refresh that, and of course here today we're not seeing any just because things haven't been going on yet. Valuable to be able to come here and be able to see what sorts of things might be indeed happening. And so the types of things that go on more for in the resource management area have a lot to do really with, for example, monitoring processes, running processes. So here being able to see that we've got various processes that are scheduled. This is an example that we see here where all these scheduled jobs are currently disabled at the institution level. This is intentional in the training sandbox environment, and you'll also find that it's the case in your your implementation environments that these jobs are not running on a daily basis. However, it does give us an idea about what things are actually happening, when they're happening, and so on. On the running tab, we would see if anything is running at the moment. And then finally on the completed tab, here we have the opportunity to filter by date range. And so this is so from October 30th to 31. We could change this up a little bit. And so here just increasing the time interval, and now seeing that we have a series of jobs that have run. Again, we have the opportunity to filter by the different types of jobs. So it could be data services, it could be migration, users, just different kinds of things that are available for us to be working on. Now, to move over to look at things in connection with fulfillment, here's a place where I really want to be making sure that I am at a circulation desk. Because when I am at a circulation desk, I very clearly am able to see the different types of things that relate to fulfillment activities. So here, for example, being able to see what items are on the active hold shelf. And here seeing that we've got 3 different things that are currently in place. It appears that every one of them actually is now is actually expired as well. However, I think you get the idea here about the kinds of things that you would be able to see, make sure that items are in place. We have the opportunity to sort differently by hold shelf expiry time, hold shelf placement time, and so on. In connection with the active hold shelf, we also have the expired hold shelf. And this one shows us a number of different things, including those 3 items that were still sitting on the active hold shelf but haven't been put into to take the next step, where we're now going to reshelve these items because the patron who requested the items didn't come by to collect them. So we would be able to, select them all and then proceed to reshelve. And so essentially putting them back in circulation. There are also other opportunities here. We have the option to send to a circulation desk. And so this would be useful in the situation where there's more than one circulation desk in a physical library, and we need to make sure that the items get back to the circulation desk based on the location that's associated with that circulation desk. In a case where we would have requests that relate to items that have come from another library, we'd be able to send send back to that library. Or in the case of Activate Next, if I have failed to pick up an item for which I placed a hold request after notification and perhaps a reminder notification, and there's somebody else who is also waiting for this item, we would be able to now use the Activate Next function in order to say that the hold request now will move to the next individual in the queue. Other things that relate to this, being able to use advanced tools to create fulfillment sets for a variety of things. And this is a case where we could, for example, find any items that have now got the status of claimed returned, have the status of lost, normal, recalled, renewed, really being able to see any of these various types of status. Let's we'll create a set that relates to items that now have the loan status of lost. So I'm going to say lost items set, and I'll use that exact same name in the description area. I have the opportunity to set due dates or status dates. So we could simply say items that have the loan status of lost before the 25th of October. Save that, and upon doing that, then going to, and we can see in fact that the set has been added successfully. You go to View My Sets, and so there is my lost items set. You can see that it is an itemized set as the contents type of physical items. And if we then click on the Actions button to view the members, we can see what these items are. And so this is the kind of thing we could then be using as perhaps an incentive to either replace the items, perhaps actually going first to have one more look to make sure that we're not able to find them. And if we do find them, of course, changing the status from lost back to normal, and going on from there. So just different kinds of things that we are able to do here in this particular situation. One last fulfillment type is the option to monitor requests and work orders. And there are, of course, other types of jobs or other types of reports that we'd be able to see here. In this particular case, we can see that there are 522 requests. We've got different work orders. We're able to use the facets to filter in many different ways. And for each of these, so here we're able to see that we have a request date of September 2nd. We can view the audit trail for this item. If there was any for us to be looking at, we'd be able to edit the request. We could mark things as missing, and so on and so on and so on. So there are lots of things for us to be able to do with this kind of list, and use this as a way of being able to perhaps tidy up the details, keep track of what sorts of requests are going on, and proceed from there. Then moving on to look at user management. here's a case where we can be using the user management area to, among other things, find individuals who belong to the different types of users. So if I want to see all of the users that have the account type of staff, we're able to see that in fact we have 131. If I click on the public tab, we have 247 such records. On the contact tab, here we have individuals' names who are associated with largely with vendor records. And then finally on the All tab, again going back to the entire grouping. In addition to this, we are able to filter by the account type. And so here, whether or not we have whether these persons are external or these user accounts are external users. And so if it's external, that means that the information for a particular user is found very specifically and managed very specifically in an external system. So a student information system could be PeopleSoft, could be Banner, and other sorts of systems like that. We also have the opportunity to see internal users. These are individuals whose records are managed entirely within Alma. And so we're able to edit the records here completely and so on. Internal records with external authentication, and here we're seeing one example of that where we have somebody where we're able to manage much more of the details about the individual within Alma. However, the external authentication is handled in an external system. And then, of course, going back to all, we have the opportunity to filter by roles. And so here, for example, I might say that I want to find all of the operators who have the role of Circulation Desk Operator Limited. On a day-to-day basis, this is probably going to be student workers. And so this gives us an example of what this looks like. And, of course, many other such roles that we could be using. And then finally, this is another good one to be looking at is the status. Active and not expired. And so here, being able to see that we have records that have the status of active. We're able to see expiration dates for many of them. One thing that we can see in a couple of cases is that there is no expiration date assigned. Note that a user record can be active and actually have an expiration date now in the past. And then we also have the case where we have those that are not expired, and they might in fact be inactive. Now we have the not active or expired. And so here, notice that we're seeing a lot that have the status of active, and it's just a case that where the status of the record has not been changed to be inactive, but that we have expiration dates for these individuals that are, in some cases, well in the past. Finally, the locked out, and here we're not seeing any, which is a good thing. But the locked out is the kind of thing where perhaps an individual has tried to log in 10 times or so and using incorrect credentials, and at that point they would be locked out until an operator would come along, a user administrator, user manager operator would come along and essentially reset the password for that individual. So these are the kinds of reports that are available just simply through the Alma menu. There's one more that I did want to show you, and this is one that somebody who's working in resource management can very clearly be working on, and that is to use the manage sets function. So this potentially is something that could be used in terms of collection development. What does the collection look like in a particular area, subject area, and in other cases as well. So let's say that I want to add a set, and in this case it's going to be a logical set, and I want to find all of the items in the collection that refer to developing technologies. And so I give my set a name, and I put in a description. I choose for my set content type. In this case, all titles, because what I'm looking for really is the subject matter being used as the criteria for this entry. I'm going to say that no, it's not a private set. If I said yes, it would be one that I could continue to manage. I could be editing, updating, and so on. If I leave it at no, then anyone can use it. So by having clicked on the next button, I'm now taken to the repository search where I'm able to create a search. And here I want to actually choose subjects from the list. And I'm going to put in developing technologies. I'll click on go. And we find that there are none that have that exact subject heading. So I'm going to just open it up and say keywords instead, and then we land up with a number here, 4 items that we can be including. And now in order to finish the work with the set, I'm going to click on Save, and we now have our Developing Technologies collection. These sets can be created in both logical and itemized views, and which is something that you should have learned about before now. Other types of things now involve actually much more just in terms of working in the repository search, but very specifically in the advanced search area. It's here that we can be for example, searching in different ways. And so here, beginning with an all title search, and here going to add a condition on the basis of bibliographic information. So here I could again be looking for something related to subjects. I could be, so let's try another subject search here, and in this case, we could try tourism. I perform the search, and we discover that there are 13 such records. I have the opportunity at this point to filter by different inventory types, by different material types. In this particular case, all 13 of the records in this set are in English. I can also use the faceting to modify what I'm seeing just on the basis of publication year. At this stage, I also have the opportunity to save the query. And so this is another way to actually create a set. So I can go ahead and save the query. So set on tourism. It will be an active set. By default, it's an all titles set because that's the type of search I performed. And again, I'm not going to make it private. So here we now have our set on tourism. If we go to the Actions button and click on the Results area, we get to see that group of 13 once again. We also can do other types of things in this area, and I'm going to just go ahead here and change the query and essentially start over. So I'm going to clear the conditions for the all titles search and instead go to physical titles. Physical titles now will actually include details that relate to inventory. That's the most important thing here. So we'll add conditions, and you can see right away that there's much more to be selecting from. So in this case, I want to add a holding condition for the permanent call number. Or I could go with permanent call number type instead. For any of your institutions that have a mix of LC and Dewey, this can be a good thing to be looking at. So that gives us a way to work on those sorts of things. If I instead go to permanent call number, we have a way to look at that. I also want to go with permanent physical location, because perhaps I'm trying to figure out what are all of the what are all of the items in a particular classification of LC in a particular location in the library. So I add the conditions, and you'll see that we now have 2 entries in here. So first off, I want to get the permanent physical location in place. So we'll go and select the main library in this case, and in the main circulating collection. And you'll see that it actually now also adds in library to our conditions. And in this case, I want to say, and I want to look at things where we've got HV as the classification area. And from this, I now get a list of 693 records where HV is very clearly the classification start. And so it gives us a way to then be looking at this. We can, of course, be filtering, in this case, finding 3 things that apparently have something to do with the French language. We can also be filtering by publication year, so looking for older types of things that might be in the collection, perhaps things that we want to consider withdrawing from the collection, or in some other cases maybe moving to another location, a rare books collection, or perhaps an off-site storage sort of situation. I'm going to go ahead and change the query again, and I will clear all of the conditions, and this time I want to look at electronic titles. And again, going to add conditions. In this case, I want to be looking for the publisher information that relates to a particular electronic collection type, and I'm going to select electronic collection type from the electronic collection inventory option. And in fact, it looks like I selected electronic collection name rather than electronic collection type. So I'm going to actually go ahead and remove that condition and add another. And in this case, there we go. There's our electronic collection type. Add that condition. And in this case, I'm looking for any particular set. It could be ProQuest, it could be EBSCO. So we'll just say that it contains the keywords for ProQuest, that it's equal to an aggregator package or a full-text database, or whichever of these ones that we want to be looking for. So I perform the search and learn that there are 2 of these, the 2 titles that fit this particular category. Both of them are journals, both are in English, and the fact that they are active because we have the bright icon that's displayed here. In any of these cases, I have the opportunity to now export this information to Excel, and it gives me a way to then further manipulate that data. I'm going to change the query and just show you one other option that perhaps relates to it, and that is that we want to actually take a look instead at selected packages rather than at, and in this particular case, not finding that we have any selected packages. Again, since this is a training environment, this is not surprising, but although I would expect that in all of your production environments that you would indeed be seeing relevant information there. Okay, I'm going to essentially start again and go back to the repository search and again to the advanced search, where I'm going to clear all of these conditions. In this case, I want to get a list of titles by physical material type to check for items that are inadvertently in an incorrect location. So I'm going to begin by selecting physical items, and I'll go to Add Conditions. So this is going to be a case where I want, from the physical items column, I want to select the material type, and let's just start with this, and we're going to say about it that we are looking for sound recordings that are not in the music library. So this is a very important kind of evaluation in this area, because it could just be that things somehow got to the wrong location. I'll add conditions now again for physical locations. And so again, the permanent physical location, and I may as well include library because I will end up having to work on it anyway. And so I'm going to begin by choosing the music library. And I'm going to say about this that we're looking for the music stacks. And that I want to say that it is where the library is not equal. So in other words, all other libraries, not the music library. And I go to perform the search, and now finding that there are no such entries. We could also, of course, and in fact this is a good thing, but it's a good thing to just ensure that things are indeed getting to the correct location. So if we go to equals, we should be finding that there are, in this case, 150 sound recordings that relate to the music library. So we know that they're there, and that we're able to see them. We can also, of course, try using a different library altogether. I'm going to, in fact, take off the permanent physical location and go only with library. And so pick the graduate library, for example, and perform a search for that. And again, finding what we're hoping for, that is that there are no sound recordings found in the graduate library. One last example to show you in this respect is in fact being able to use facets to determine the age of the physical library collection by date. So again, I'm going to change the query, and we're going to stick with the physical items, and here using the material type, in fact, yeah, we want to leave the material type in place. I'm going to add a condition for publication year. Because that now becomes a critical piece in this case. And here I have lots of options in terms of the kinds of things that I'm looking for. So I could say that I want to have show me anything that is greater than 1950, and that the material type equals book in this case. So that's giving us a total of 49,392, where the publication year is greater than 1950 and the material type equals book. I can change the query and say, show me the things that are essentially that are older than 1950. And here we have 15,419, and I'm able to, again, be determining the kinds of things that are going on. With the collection, I could be doing this also by saying, show me also a subject area where things are old, different kinds of opportunities like that, and so giving us just ways to really filter what's going on. One last type of change that I would be able to perform in this area then would be to actually add a library. And so I'll go ahead and do that. So add a library just to be even more precise about this. And so saying here that we want to look at things in the graduate library. And determining perhaps what we need to do in this area, and be able to make some decisions perhaps about what it is we're going to carry on with. So those are the types of reports that we can be doing here within the Alma application, and not needing to use the Alma Analytics. So I think that this is a valuable type of thing to be able to work with. It gives us a lot of good information that we can rely on, and it's something that any staff operator with roles and being able to work in the repository search can perform. So again, good things to be knowing about. Thanks very much for joining me.